Good morning and Happy New Year. It's 2019. It's another year, another day, and we are on the road again. It's time to start fresh. Time to get on out. Today I want to talk to you about life. I had a very interesting conversation with a commenter on my last YouTube video about the life expectancy of a truck driver. And what I found out was quite intriguing. I was doubtful at first when he told me that the average lifespan is 61 years old. So I ended up doing some more research on it. And, well, this is what I came up with. So, stay tuned. So yesterday I posted a video, what it's like being a truck driver. And the comment that someone posted originally was, trucking is a young man's job. As you grow older, the DOT physicals become more difficult to pass. By the time you get into your 50s, you will be a diabetic taking high blood pressure medication and using the CPAP every night. When I originally saw this comment, I thought of sarcasm. I was like, okay, well, maybe this guy hates his job or something. And I explained that to him. I ended up commenting back on it. I said, I don't know. I have to disagree. I know a lot of people over their 60s that are healthy because they took care of themselves. Diabetes is preventable, same with high blood pressure and sleep apnea, which he liked and agreed. And so the conversation goes on. He says, you are right. Just take a look around. How many old truckers do you see? A few, maybe. Truckers have a short lifespan, my friend. Many truckers die of heart attacks in their sleepers. Sometimes it takes days for anyone to even notice. I've been trucking all my life. I've lost many friends. And it's sad hearing that. Nobody should lose their life in this industry in general. And so I followed up with, well, I guess the question to ask is defined as old. Sure, the unhealthy ones die of heart attacks, but most of the time drivers retire. Because of my personal experience seeing it with my own family, my dad was in the truck driving industry for 30 years. He just turned 60 actually, and he's doing fine. I mean, yes, his health is bad, but that's because of his own personal life choices he did outside of trucking. Not going to go into that one. But I've known personally quite a few people that have grown in this business, but typically they retire. And a lot of times that they retire, they get tired of the BS politics, the way trucking has changed throughout the years. It's not the same as when they first started. So that's why a lot of people leave. But once more, this conversation started to intrigue me farther and farther. And I was like, I kept thinking to myself, he said, you know what? I'm going to do a video on this, because this is the comment that really got me. And I had to fact check it because that's just how I am. If I hear something that seems kind of off a little bit, being my own ignorance, I'm going to check it. So he says, the average lifespan of a trucker is 61. Most do not live long enough to retire. Most truckers get medically disqualified at some point in their career. If you plan on retiring as a truck driver, it is absolutely imperative that you take care of your health. That means get out of your truck, exercise. Most drivers today don't even set foot outside their truck these days, and I have to agree. I do see a lot of times, especially nowadays, people will go out of the way to pay for parking, even though there's 100 open spots. They'll pay for parking just to be closer to the truck stop so they don't have to walk that much. I think that's one of the reasons why I'll be going back into flatbedding in a couple weeks, is because of my own health. I can't say the healthiest. I'm trying to. I've been on a diet. I work out. I don't really smoke. I do vape, and I'd go through about a gallon of water a day, which wherever my water is, I could use it right now. So upon further review and doing research, this is what I found out. Statistics about the lifespan of truck drivers in question. The shorter life expectancy of truckers isn't really in dispute. Although the specific difference has been called into question a bit, Some statistics don't support the 16-year variance. Others have put it at more like 10 to 15 years, and some have put it all the way at 20 years. The bottom line is that while the actual difference may vary, most agree that the shorter lifespan risk for truckers is real and significant. Health concerns. There's a broad range of medical issues that impact the life expectancy of truck drivers. Dr. Eric Wood of the University of Utah conducted a study that reported half of all truck drivers smoke tobacco. 28% suffer from high blood pressure compared to the 17% of manufacturer workers. 25% had high cholesterol compared to the 16%. 10% had diabetes compared to the 5%, and nearly 15% had sleep apnea. With all these health concerns, you would think more than 58% of drivers were covered by health insurance. But that's what the stats show. Obesity is also a health concern because 55% of truck drivers are obese, having a BMI of 30 or greater compared to 33%. Since truck drivers face a higher risk of their life being cut short or their life expectancy being cut, they should keep a closer eye on monitoring their health. Of course, the DOT physical is one standard that has been put into place just to do that. Thus, instead of looking at the DOT physical exam as a necessary evil of being a truck driver, try to look at it as a good way to catch problems before they become major. Furthermore, even though only half of commercial truck drivers are covered by health insurance, all should still have regular doctor visits, ideally annually, and not just when the DOT's physical certification needs to be renewed. Do keep in mind that most of the time your DOT physical provider can perform other more routine physicals for you as well. So that was the one article I had found. That was off of OrlandoPhysicals.com. I will post a link in the description, and that was part of their article that they had posted. Now, I don't just follow one article. I want to go throughout the whole entire thing. So what I did is I started scrolling down to see what else was posted about this, and then I found something, an article by Landline Magazine, who they don't really disagree, but they don't also agree. And this is what they had put in their article. And it says, "Is the truck driver's life expectancy really 61 years old?" So they go on to say, "For years there's been statistics tossed about the trucking industry that the average trucker can expect to die at the extraordinary young age of 61. The statistic is supposedly based on fact and supported by current research and actual studies. Here's how the statistics was born, then generalized and mislabeled, and why giving it too much credibility is wrong. Trucking is a hard job. It's stressful and it's dangerous. Could a hefty list of risks related to the job result in early health problems for truckers? Or even worse, early death? If so, does anyone know how early? The OOIDA has long been interested in how job risks relate to truckers' health. A former employee of OOIDA's research arm did some digging back in 2003 and found scores of active members who died at an early age. The problem was the association's records were based on several hundred members of the association, and those numbers were gathered on data from people still actively trucking when they died. Health risks and early death concerns also caught the interest of the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, or NIOSH, which is a part of the Center for Disease Control. In 2000, Dr. Michael Belzer wrote a book called Sweatshop on Wheels, exposing the deplorable and dangerous working condition for truckers. Belzer hosted a conference in 2003 on truck driver safety and health, co-authorized in NIOSH report in 2007, pointing out that truckers must deal with a wide array of occupational dangers resulting in high morbidity and mortality rates. So the question comes, I guess, where does the question, the 61, come from? A journal called Environmental Health Perspectives published a study in August 2007. Harvard Medical School's Francine Layden, Jamie E. Hart, Thomas J. Smith, Mary E. Davis, and Eric Garshik used records from 4 national trucking companies to identify about 54,000 male employees employed in 1985. It's critical to note that trucks are much cleaner than they were when the study began in 1985 and concluded in 2000. The study looked at drivers whose average year of hire was 1974. About 34% of them started working in 1966. As many as 16% of them started trucking before then. Truckers in the study likely began trucking in the mid-60s, when diesel trucks were filthy and more drivers smoked tobacco. Hours for LTL drivers were irregular. Most drivers with regular hours worked a night shift as well, which research has shown contributes to significant health risks. The study examined rates of cause-specific mortality compared to general U.S. population and found elevated rates for lung cancer and ischemic heart disease among these LTL unionized workers. The age 61 statistic likely first stemmed from this report. The Harvard study stated that the average age of death of this group was 61.9 years. It did not establish the life expectancy. Every researcher I've talked to has been admitted about this confusion in the terms of median or average age of death, which is routinely reported, and life expectancy. These two terms are not the same, and one does not imply the other. So, I guess we can go on asking, what is the real life expectancy of a truck driver? No one really knows. No study has been large enough or specific enough to reveal a life expectancy for truck drivers. And remember, all truckers are not alike. In fact, owner-operators may have less risk of schedule-related stress because many of them control their schedules better than company drivers are able to do and spend less time on the docks. Yet they were not included in the Harvard study until 2010. Owner-operators had never been studied at all. So that's a really good point, actually. If owner-operators have never been studied, even though they make up a majority of the trucking institution, then how can we really say that 61 years is the average life? I think the study needs to be, it needs to go on, it needs to be re-updated. Because for all we know, it could be less now, and it could be more. Who knows? The way I see it, with the current ELDs and with smokeless products like vapes that are in high demand, high industry now, and like chewing tobacco and that stuff's always been there, but the food, in my opinion, the truck stop garbage that we eat on a daily basis is the major killer in all this. So, what is your comments? I would love to hear it, especially from my fellow commenter from earlier. I want to hear your comment on this topic now, especially with the new the article I read just now. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna do some more. This is just a part 1 of this video. My part 2, I am going to actually go deeper into the situation. Today I don't really have a lot of time to just make a whole hour-long video because there is a lot more to this, and this is just a little skim of what's really going on with the health in the truck driving industry. So you all be safe, have a wonderful day, and as usual, Big Trucker B out.